You talk to yourself more than anyone else in your life. Every single day, every waking hour, every moment your mind isn't completely occupied, there's a voice running commentary on your existence. It judges your outfit in the mirror. It rehearses conversations that will never happen. It replays embarrassing moments from third grade. It whispers about your worth when nobody else is listening. But here's what will blow your mind. That voice inside your head isn't just random chatter. It's not background noise. It's not harmless mental static. It's the architect of your confidence, the blueprint of your self-worth, the invisible force that determines whether you'll walk into that room like you own it or hide in the corner hoping nobody notices you exist. Think you know what confidence looks like. Think it's about standing tall, speaking loud, and never showing fear. Think it's about being the person who dominates every conversation and never doubts themselves. Here's the plot twist that changes everything. Real confidence isn't about what you say out loud. It's about what you whisper to yourself when nobody else can hear. The strongest people in the room often have the kindest inner voice. The most insecure often have the loudest external persona. Your self-talk isn't just reflecting your confidence. It's literally creating it, neuron by neuron, thought by thought, word by word. Your brain is like a muscle that gets stronger based on the exercises you give it. Every time you think a thought, you're doing mental repetitions. When you tell yourself you're stupid after making a mistake, you're strengthening those neural pathways. When you remind yourself that everyone makes errors and you'll do better next time, you're building different connections entirely. Researchers have found that people with positive self-talk patterns show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center. Meanwhile, those stuck in negative self-talk loops activate their amygdala more frequently, the brain's alarm system. You're literally rewiring your brain with every internal conversation. The voice in your head isn't just commentary, it's construction. Studies show that people who practice compassionate self-talk recover from failures 40% faster than those who engage in self-criticism, 40%. That's the difference between bouncing back in days versus weeks, between learning from mistakes versus being paralyzed by them. Your inner voice isn't just affecting how you feel about yourself. It's determining how quickly you grow, how effectively you learn, and how resilient you become when life inevitably knocks you down. The way you speak to yourself in private moments becomes the foundation for how you handle public challenges. Listen to how you talk to yourself after you mess up. Do you sound like a disappointed parent berating a child, or like a good friend offering support after a tough day? The difference reveals everything about your confidence operating system. People with genuine confidence don't have perfect inner voices. They have trained inner voices. They've learned to catch themselves in the act of self-destruction and redirect towards self-compassion. They understand that the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts, it's to change the ratio, to make kindness louder than criticism, to make growth stronger than fear. But here's where it gets really interesting. Your self-talk doesn't just affect your confidence, it literally changes your biology. When you engage in harsh self-criticism, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone that clouds thinking and weakens immune function. When you practice self-compassion, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes healing and clear thinking. This isn't motivational speaking. This is measurable science. Your thoughts are chemistry. Your words are medicine or poison depending on what you choose. Hit that like button if you've ever caught yourself being meaner to yourself than you'd be to your worst enemy. Because we all have, and that recognition is actually the first step toward change. You can't fix what you don't notice. You can't improve what you don't acknowledge. The people with the strongest confidence have learned to become observers of their own minds. They've developed what psychologists call metacognition, the ability to think about thinking, to catch the voice before it spirals, to interrupt the pattern before it becomes the program. Think your inner critic is protecting you by keeping you humble. Think it's motivated by helping you avoid mistakes and embarrassment. Here's another plot twist. Your inner critic is often your confidence' biggest saboteur. It masquerades as protection but functions as paralysis. Research from Stanford University found that people who treated themselves with compassion after failures were more likely to take responsibility for their mistakes and more motivated to improve in the future. Meanwhile, those who engaged in self-criticism were more likely to avoid challenges and repeat the same errors. Your inner critic isn't keeping you safe. It's keeping you small. The language you use matters more than you realize. There's a massive difference between saying I am anxious versus I feel anxious. The first makes anxiety your identity. The second makes it a temporary experience. I am stupid versus I made a mistake. I never get anything right versus I'm learning and growing. These aren't just semantic differences, they're identity differences. They change how your brain processes the information and how quickly you recover from setbacks. Here's what confident people understand that insecure people don't. Self-talk isn't about being unrealistically positive, it's about being realistically supportive. You don't need to tell yourself you're perfect when you're clearly not. You need to tell yourself you're human when you're clearly struggling. You don't need to pretend mistakes don't matter. You need to remind yourself that mistakes don't define you. The goal isn't to eliminate all critical thinking, it's to change the tone from prosecutor to coach. Watch how confident people handle compliments. They don't deflect them or immediately point out their flaws. They say thank you and move on. This reveals something crucial about their inner dialogue. They're not constantly fighting an internal war about their worth. They've made peace with being imperfect and valuable at the same time. They understand that accepting praise doesn't make them arrogant. Rejecting it makes them exhausting. Not just to others but to themselves. Remember to subscribe because we're diving deep into the psychology that actually changes lives, not just the surface level advice that sounds good but doesn't work. Your confidence isn't determined by your achievements or your appearance or your bank account. It's determined by the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. And that relationship is built one conversation at a time, one thought at a time, one moment of choosing kindness over cruelty at a time. Your self-talk patterns were probably established years ago, maybe decades ago. They might sound like your parents' voices or your teachers' voices or the voices of people who hurt you when you were too young to defend yourself. But here's the liberating truth. Those voices aren't permanent. Neuroplasticity means your brain can form new patterns at any age. You can literally reprogram the voice in your head. It takes practice. It takes patience. It takes catching yourself in the act of self-destruction and consciously choosing a different path. But it's absolutely possible. Studies suggest that people who practice positive self-talk for just 2 weeks show measurable improvements in confidence, decision-making, and stress management. 2 weeks. That's not a lifetime of therapy or years of meditation. That's 14 days of paying attention to the voice in your head and gradually turning down the volume on criticism while turning up the volume on compassion. The research is clear. The method is simple. The only question is whether you're willing to treat yourself with the same kindness you'd show a good friend. The most confident people aren't the ones who never doubt themselves. They're the ones who doubt themselves and proceed anyway. They're the ones who make mistakes and speak to themselves with understanding rather than contempt. They're the ones who understand that confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of self-compassion in the face of fear. They've learned that the voice in their head can be their greatest ally or their worst enemy. And they've chosen to make it an ally. But here's something that might surprise you. Your self-talk doesn't just affect your present moment confidence, it's actually programming your future self. Every harsh word you speak internally becomes a prediction your brain tries to fulfill. Every encouraging thought becomes a blueprint for possibility. When you repeatedly tell yourself you're not good enough, your brain starts looking for evidence to support that belief. It filters out compliments and amplifies criticism. It notices failures and overlooks successes. Your inner dialogue isn't just commentary on reality, it's actively creating the reality you experience. Think about the last time you walked into a room full of strangers. What was the first thing your inner voice said? Did it remind you that you're interesting and worthy of connection? Or did it immediately start cataloging all the reasons you don't belong? That split-second internal reaction determined everything that happened next. Your body language, your eye contact, your willingness to start conversations, your ability to be present instead of consumed by self-consciousness. The room didn't change. The people didn't change. But your inner voice created your entire experience of that moment. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people who practice positive self-talk before challenging situations perform significantly better than those who don't prepare their internal dialogue. Athletes who use encouraging self-talk run faster times, make fewer errors, and recover more quickly from setbacks. Students who speak to themselves with confidence score higher on tests and retain information more effectively. Professionals who practice supportive internal dialogue before presentations are rated as more competent and trustworthy by their audiences. Your inner voice isn't just affecting how you feel, it's affecting how you perform and how others perceive you. Here's the thing that nobody talks about. Your self-talk has a volume control. And most people have the criticism turned up way too loud while the encouragement is barely audible. You notice every mistake but dismiss every success. You remember every criticism but forget every compliment. You replay embarrassing moments on repeat but let proud moments fade quickly from memory. This isn't accidental. Your brain has a negativity bias designed to keep you safe from threats. But in modern life, this ancient wiring often creates more problems than it solves. The threats aren't saber-toothed tigers anymore. They're social rejection, professional failure, and personal inadequacy. And your inner critic is working overtime to protect you from dangers that mostly exist in your imagination. Here's your challenge for the next week. Pay attention to your self-talk like it's a conversation happening in the room with you. When you catch yourself being harsh, ask what you would say to a friend in the same situation. When you notice self-doubt creeping in, remind yourself that uncertainty is human and courage isn't the absence of fear. When you make a mistake, practice responding with curiosity instead of criticism. What can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? These aren't just nicer thoughts. They're more effective thoughts. But let's get specific about what this actually looks like in practice. Instead of saying I'm terrible at this, try I'm still learning this. Instead of everyone thinks I'm weird, try some people might not understand me and that's okay. Instead of I always mess things up, try I made a mistake and I can learn from it. These small shifts in language create massive shifts in how your brain processes experiences. You're not lying to yourself or pretending problems don't exist. You're just changing the frame from permanent and personal to temporary and workable. Here's what most people don't realize about confidence. It's not built through positive thinking alone, it's built through evidence collection. Every time you speak to yourself with compassion and then take action anyway, you're gathering proof that you can handle difficult things. Every time you make a mistake, treat yourself kindly and try again, you're building a database of resilience. Your brain starts to trust that you'll be okay because you have a track record of being okay, even when things go wrong, even when you're scared, even when you're not perfect. This is how real confidence grows. Not through pretending you're invincible, but through proving to yourself that you're capable of surviving and thriving even when you're vulnerable. The difference between confident and insecure people isn't the content of their thoughts. Everyone has self-doubt. Everyone has moments of insecurity. Everyone questions themselves sometimes. The difference is in how they respond to those thoughts. Insecure people believe every thought their brain produces and let those thoughts dictate their actions. Confident people observe their thoughts, evaluate them, and then choose their response. They understand that thoughts are mental events, not absolute truths. They can have the thought I'm not qualified for this and still apply for the job. They can think everyone is judging me and still speak up in meetings. They've learned to act on their values rather than their fears. The voice in your head is the most influential voice you'll ever hear. It speaks to you more than your spouse, your boss, your friends, and your family combined. It's with you in your highest moments and your lowest moments. It's there when you're making decisions, facing challenges, and trying to sleep at night. That voice is either building your confidence or destroying it with every word. The choice of what it says is entirely up to you. But first you have to start listening to what it's saying right now. So what does your inner voice sound like? Is it encouraging or discouraging? Is it patient or impatient? Is it kind or cruel? Drop a comment and let us know what you discovered about your self-talk patterns. And if this video made you think differently about the voice in your head, hit that like button, subscribe for more insights that actually matter, and share this with someone who might need to hear that they deserve to speak to themselves with kindness. Because everyone does, including you.